Hello, once again, folks. Welcome to another awesome episode of Customizing the Clone Wars. This is episode 41, and I am your host, as always, Peak-Obi-Wan from Peak-Obi-Wan Custom Creations on Facebook. Along with me, I have my co-host. His name is Darth Daddy, and he is from the Customs for the Kid blog spot. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. Looking forward to talking evil plans. Yeah, it's gonna be a good night.
Awesome. Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. We are in season 3, Secrets Revealed, and once again, it is another prequel episode. It takes place before Hostage Crisis from season 1, and I'm going to read from the episode guide. It says, an apparently innocent shopping trip to Coruscant turns sinister when Cad Bane abducts C-3PO and R2-D2. Bane is seeking information they may know about the Senate building and its security protocols. Information that will allow the ruthless bounty hunter to do a job for one of his shadowy clients. So yeah, like I was saying, God, I love this episode. Mainly because it reminds me of Droids from 1985. What do you think of that? Do you think that would be a good idea in this day and age?
I think I enjoyed those episodes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They did get a lot of lash, like a lot of. Remember, do you remember there was a bit of criticism about the Droids episodes in
Mm-hmm.
the
Sure
Clone
was.
Wars,
Yep.
and to me, like they felt it was like too childlike, or they were calling it Disneyfied. To me, I didn't. Star Wars is a family event. It's for kids just as much as it's for adults.
Yep.
I have my episodes where I could watch Ahsoka Tano behead 4 Mandalorians at once. And then Elias was young when he was watching these, so I liked it when they had these kind of episodes for him. So he had something, to digest, and it was nice to see R2-D2 and C-3PO on adventures.
I agree completely. This was definitely an interesting one. Lots of cool stuff we have going on in this episode. So we will just jump right into it. Let me pull up the fortune cookie here. It says, failure in planning is a plan for failure. And I definitely adhere to this kind of thinking. Most motivational speakers, spiritual leaders, leaders in, captains of industry, basically they talk to you about your goals and your 5-year plan or just making plans in general, right? What do you think of this?
I think planning it goes a long way,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, especially for this show is basically about making custom toys, and anytime I know I go about making a toy,
Yeah.
I definitely take planning into account, and I'm always brainstorming of like, how could I do this better? How could I improve the articulation? What sculpting medium would be best for this?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, planning goes a long way.
Very cool. Yeah, so we go right into it. Basically, there's some kind of event going on at Padme's place, her place on Coruscant, and 3PO is doing what he does best. Basically, he is delegating or party planning this event. He's doing what a protocol droid does. This is probably his most shining moment. Not to say that he's shiny, but you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is his mission more than anybody.
Yeah, I agree. And they find out that there's an important aspect of the cake missing, the Jogan fruit. So this is my 3PO. This is going to lead into the first custom of the night. Basically, I always thought that all the different 3POs they had, they were kind of dull, don't you think?
Yeah, and paint for sure.
Yeah. And I felt like maybe they could have done. Wouldn't it have been cool if they did a back metalized version of this Clone Wars 3PO?
Oh yeah, I think we did talk about that in another episode. That with the
Hmm.
back metallization process, it's
Yeah,
actually damaging to the environment. And as cool as it would look,
yeah,
yeah, it's a shame.
yeah,
I don't want to kill any animals or
yeah.
environments, make them unsuitable for other humans.
I hear
So
you. I
yeah,
hear you. So they go out on a mission. Basically, they go down to the local market on Coruscant. Maybe they go a couple levels down or something like that. But this street that we have, I love this because it's just filled with so many different characters, and I'm going to be showing a lot of the characters I've done um, over the course of the show, and just a lot of repeat characters tonight. But look at who it is in the background there.
Poon
Punzigna.
Zignat.
Yep,
Yep.
there he is. You're going to see him a couple times in this episode. I think we see him at least 4 or 5 times. It's outrageous, but
That's the way it was. I mean, sometimes when he appeared, he got a lot of screen time.
yeah, I know.
He's really like the unsung, like most. He's a big character when you think about it. He's in so many episodes,
Yeah, I know.
and he has like a little storyline to him. Like if you watch him, he's always you're getting little fragments here and there.
I hear you. Yeah, and then so I'm just going to go through a couple of the characters I've made. This is kind of a work in progress. I'm still working on this guy, but we saw him in the foreground, didn't we? It's kind of a Ithorian character, and they put him in this like giant spacesuit. They used him for different things, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I thought I'd throw him back in there. This is just basically a cobbled together. Uh, Momon Madden, basically, and I put him together with a How to Train Your Dragon figure. What was the main villain's character's name? I'm not sure. I've never actually even seen that show, but I used his body to make the Ithorian, and you can see in there some of the parts I've used are also Momon Madden, and then also other characters like. Cattle Parasiti, which I love her parts. There are just so
yeah,
many
she
good
does have
parts.
cool parts.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Yeah, there are some characters that just have great parts. And here's another one, the police probe. You see him flying around also down there, and you'd think that some of the shady dealings that ensue wouldn't happen because it's that area is being patrolled, right?
Yeah.
And here's a weak way I thought I'd throw him in there. There's just various characters down in this area where they're going. There's Bits, of course. It's kind of like a street market, right?
Yeah, it's showing you the coolest of the cool alien species that populate the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Anakin goes and he says, "You're on a mission. Don't get distracted," which is very funny. I'd never really heard that a droid can actually get distracted. They're
You think they'd
made
be like go right where they need to go, right when they need to go.
right, and they have personality.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool. That's totally Star Wars. So we realize that they're being watched, and it's for a very good reason. That he's been given a job to get some information from 3PO. He thinks it's 3PO. He said the goldenrod is the target. So they
Yeah.
don't really care about R2. They know they got to get 3PO at some point. And there's my original Cad Bane that I did before they came out with the stellar, awesome one that we so love, right?
I still like your paint though.
Oh, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, I made his eyes a little bit brighter, a little bit more interesting. I'll tell you one thing, and I'm going to be showing it later in the episode. The newer Cad Bane, his eyes are a little bit smaller. Did you notice that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's why we used to call it kind of a hybrid, like in between. Is it like more realistic because of that? But yeah.
I think it is. am a firm believer that they could make that no more real than he already is. You know what I'm saying? I
I feel
mean,
the same way.
that's
Because you always
camping.
wanted to feel like he was sunken in and withered, or you never
Mhm.
want him to be too like wide, like the guys in the cantina.
Exactly. So we realize he has to go and find this Jogan fruit, and this is going to actually lead to our Easter egg. This character that we're seeing here, he is our Easter egg tonight. His name is Drugan, but do you know why I'm calling him our Easter egg?
No.
Well, he was inspired by a character that came from animation. Do you know where he came from? Where the look of him came from? I spotted it pretty much right away, but I was pretty amazed by what they did. I don't know if it was Dave's inspiration or if it was Killian Plunkett that did it, but he was inspired after an old character from a Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Was it that the cowboy uncle or something like that?
Yes,
The big
you were
mustache?
right.
Yeah.
And there it is. There's a picture.
I remember that episode.
Tom and Jerry, episode 96, Pecos Pest. This is Uncle Pecos. And basically, the idea, it was from 1955.
I remember watching it as a kid.
But the main reason this was so memorable for us old timers is that he sang this song called Crambone, and it was just hilarious. And every time he broke a string on his guitar,
He pulled from the cat.
he'd pull it from the cat, right? So if you're looking at this image here, if you're seeing this image, you can basically see the idea that his head is basically the 10-gallon hat, right?
Yeah. His way of bartering is like pulling whiskers too.
Yeah. Oh man, this guy was shifty, wasn't he?
Oh God, yeah.
There he is again, right? And tell us a little bit about him.
Oh, basically, anytime he said the price, he was like, "Oh, that was the price just for one, not for three." And then he gave a price, and then he even doubled it again before the transaction took place, and he got all their money.
Yeah, he's like, we gotta watch our credits, and he cracks this joke. He's like, when I was watching my credits, somebody, somebody stole it, or something to the effect of that, or
when I was worried about my health, someone stole my credits, or
watch your health. While I was watching my health, somebody stole my credits. So
yeah.
So, and this is the first reveal tonight. This is a character that I'm just so passionate about. I just think he's so cool. I like weird characters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was a fun one.
Yeah. So here it is, first reveal. This is a custom I did way back then. The original air date for this was November 5th, 2010. So I did him probably back then, right? Quite a long time ago.
Yeah, because I have your first one.
Yeah, and I've actually started another one just because I have to have this guy again. My favorite part of him is just some of the details on him, like his belt buckle, the questionable belt buckle that he has going on there.
Yeah, I'm surprised it made it onto TV.
Yeah,
I guess they could say it's a Jawa palm leaf.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Maybe that's the Java juice, from episode 2.
Yeah.
You want some Java juice, they make that with those
Joking Java. Yeah.
Exactly.
Java juice.
Exactly. And I really like the zippers too on his coat. I thought those turned out well. This is a mix of a bunch of different characters. Can you guess where I got those hands from?
Oh, wait. Is it the big camel guy, Yak Face?
No, think green. Think green.
Green.
Yeah. Those are actually Yoda hands, believe it or not.
Holy cow. They look big for Yoda hands, but he's small.
They sure do. Yeah, he is small, and you know, the one that you know, I'll show you the one that I'm working on later. He's just more of a whip. I can show him to you on screen, but I've made. They're basically taller than an Ugnaught, but you know, not as tall as a regular character, right?
Almost the
So
height of like Neum Nu or Neum
yeah,
Num.
something like that. You know, just a little like a head smaller, right?
Yep.
A head smaller. So that's something I had to keep in mind because he was definitely short. If you look at you know, the picture here, he's definitely shorter than 3PO, right?
Oh yeah, he's got on some kind of a boost. He's on like a step up too.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's the first reveal of that first time character, and his name is Drugan, by the way. Um, Another cool thing about his name is for us older people, the movie The Clockwork Orange. You remember he called his
Oh yeah,
buddies
Droogs. Yeah.
Droogs, his
Yep.
Droogs, man.
Yep.
So I just adore this character because he's just a swindler, right? So finally, after they talk to this guy, and we actually see him again later on down the road, but it's quite some time until we see him again. I think it's season 5. So once they get the Jogan fruit, they realize they have more money to spend, right? And that's where Toto 360 rolls into, right?
Yep. Yep.
And he comes up and he has this whole ploy. He's basically eavesdropping on their conversation, and he hears what they had to say, and he's like, "Oh, I'll just think fast and try to get them to go to the droid spa." Basically, that was pretty quick thinking of for what he was trying to do, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing kind of a flying Toto 360, and we both basically did a custom of this, but I'm going to let you share yours first. So go ahead.
Okay. Basically all I had to do on this one, I just took I actually have a picture of it. Let's see. Yeah, I took this Yoda hologram that used to come. Those came what, the Saga Legends ones?
Yes.
Yeah, so you see this bottom, this area here underneath the pedestal.
Yeah.
I just cut that out of there, and then I just reshaped it a bit with that black circular nylon brush that I've shown in past episodes that I use for cleaning up joints and
Uh-huh.
just taking plastic away. But I reshaped it and I just crazy glued it to the foot. And I'd probably, even now that I started doing magnet work, you could always maybe, I would recommend maybe people just using magnets. But it leaves a nice, it's a good way to get that in-flight look out of your action figure.
How did you get it to look like that? Is that laid down? Is that a trick photo or?
Yeah, I took a background and I laid
Yeah.
it flat, and then I noticed, that it had that smoky look. So I just laid them flat. So I positioned
Yeah.
it so it looked like the smoke was coming off of his feet.
Yeah, and your eyes are super clean too. The one that I have, my eyes are like washed out a little bit. You know, they have like a
I
black.
think I painted over them to make them brighter,
Very
to
cool.
contrast the feet.
Yeah, very cool. So I saw yours, and I kind of took note of yours, and I was like, I definitely want to do that character at some point. So I eventually got around to making that character. But before we go into talking about him, check this out. This is the Droid Spa, right? Wouldn't this make a great playset?
Oh God, yeah, definitely.
Especially with all kinds of Build-A-Droids and all the different characters that we had. This
They can make two different ones and just sell them as halves, so both people are going to want to buy both, and you can attach them and you get different droids in each set. That would be awesome. That'd be a
interconnecting
good
play
Disney
sets,
collection.
right?
Yeah.
Oh man, that would just be killer. So this is the Droid Spa. Basically, droids can get pampered too. It's outrageous. I know, but
It is Coruscant,
right. And so
and you got to figure they're probably hanging out in a senatorial neighborhood.
yeah, R2 definitely is talked into it. He's he's battle worn basically, and he wants to go into the droid spot. So he has the credits. He strolls right into this place. And here's another character that I made, and he was up on the conveyor belt there, basically getting that decarbonizing buff or whatever. So I thought I'd show him again. And meanwhile, once R2 gets into getting himself cleaned up, Cad Bane actually manages to kidnap 3PO, right?
Yep.
And here's another example of a great play set. Do you have a picture of that cardboard backdrop?
Which one?
It was that one we were talking about before we started tonight. It was the capture of the droids.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on a second. I'll pull that up now.
So Cad Bane, he kidnaps 3PO, and he takes him to a completely opposite place compared to where R2 is, right? R2 is basically at this droid spa, treating himself, pampering himself, and where's 3PO? 3PO is in this, like, hellish dungeon, right?
Yeah.
And he's getting basically tortured by a character that looks like 8D8, but believe it or not, that character is his name is J0-N0, so Jono, basically. Did you know that he had a name?
No, I didn't. I thought they definitely, you could see the 88 influence right away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not know he had a name.
Yeah, his name is Jono, or you can call him Jono. And basically, that picture that you were just showing, it had a really cool backdrop of basically what 3PO is dialed into, right? It's kind of this harness, and these hoses come down, and they're just like electrocuting him, but they're getting the information. And Cad Bane actually just put the restraining bolt literally on his forehead. Oh man, isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
So that's going to lead us into your next custom that you would like to share. And would you say that this is more of a hybrid, or would you say that it's more of like a kind of an 8D8 kind of a thing?
It's an 8D8, but I guess the way it's, if you remember in the original movie, he had no motion whatsoever, where in the Clone Wars, he's much more articulated, and he's able to like complete motions that he couldn't do in the original Return of the Jedi film.
Yeah.
So this is just basically a more articulated version of the figure, because we had never gotten that before, and it's using some Build-A-Droid parts mixed in with the original legs to kind of
the tough to get BJG 38, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, lucky you. Where did you get those extra parts?
Oh man, just from collecting and army building, and you know.
Man. Yeah, I wish that figure was not so hard to get.
I know.
That Build-A-Droid figure, those would be useful parts, but so they're trying to figure out. Thanks for sharing that, by the way.
No problem.
That's a really nice custom. I'd like to get to making one of those at some point. But they're trying to get this information, and he's just basically telling them, I really don't have any brains, to some effect, right? He says something like that. He says, I don't really have any knowledge. That's R2's job. And he gives it away that now they have to go get R2, right?
Yep.
So now they all have to go back to this little market area, this little market area, and I thought I'd show that again because here it is. There's Punzignut again. There's the Manifesto droid. There's the Shopkeeper droid, and there's this awesome orange droid. Where did we get that recently? It
just came in that droid pack from Entertainment Earth.
Yeah, more of a realistic version, right?
I kind of feel like they're hybrids in some ways.
I agree. But this is my version of him. I actually made this guy quite a long time ago. This is a version of that character from the Entertainment Earth pack, but only Clone Wars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I thought I'd share him.
Yours is much nicer.
Oh, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Just a couple more characters to balance out the market, I suppose. And this is one more. If you're noticing this image, R2 is just clean. Now, he is just awesome. He's the cleanest he's ever been. And it was kind of, don't you think it was quite a difference, compared to what we normally see for R2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes and he's like, there's a shopkeeper outside, and his name is GL917, and he's basically, or 916, sorry. He basically asked him, hey, have you seen my friend? And he's like, no, I haven't seen your buddy. So immediately, this shopkeeper droid, he's like, hey, you want to buy something? You want to buy something? I just love this episode. And that's going to lead us. I know I'm just going through a ton of customs right now. I should have mentioned that there's going to be quite a bit. This is another custom that we're going to go into, and this is kind of the muscle that's there along with Toto, right? And
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I found out his name also from watching the episode. His name is Helios 3E, not 3D. So 3E. There is another one named Helios 3D, but he is 3E. So I also made this guy. And what I decided to do is give him a kind of a different gun, since it was more of it almost should have been like a force pike.
It's like a Vader gun, right?
It sure is, but it was one of those. It came with one of those Clone Wars packs or something.
Oh yeah, when they came in the little boxes with all the extra weapons, those were cool.
Yeah, it was.
I
It was
actually
just
like those. They were good for customizing.
absolutely, absolutely. I just really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed this character a lot just because he had so much cool articulation.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
Especially in the hips.
yeah,
Especially.
Absolutely. So we get
everything. It was awesome.
Yeah, the clamp hands. I love the clamp hands. So we get back there, and you know what? Another cool thing about that character is he actually had a speaking role, which was really cool. So he actually spoke. He didn't go, like the other ones did.
He talked kind of like Heisinger, right?
Yeah, he did.
A deep robot voice.
Yeah, he had a deep robot voice, but you could hear him. He basically says, we have the information. What are we going to do with these guys? And Cad Bane's like, let's just get rid of them. He had a lot of great lines, Cad Bane did. And it was just so cool. But Cad Bane, I really like this character because he's just solid. He doesn't care. He wasn't like Gannat, where he was like, this R2 has tons of information on the war. All he really wanted was that information for the Senate building. And when he got it, he was like, let's just get rid of these two. So after they're done, basically they just throw them back into the market square. And apparently removing those restraining bolts wiped just that memory. So 3PO, the last thing he remembers is the Jogan fruit. So they go and they pick it up where they dropped it. And towards the end of the show is where it really gets interesting, right? This is probably my favorite part of the episode. Not so much that I didn't like the droid adventure. I really did, because I'm a droid's nut. But we see, because he succeeded, Cad Bane goes to Tatooine, right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of a quick thing I wanted to share. We've talked about this before, haven't we? This Cad Bane. Are you seeing this one here?
Yep.
So we always thought it would be cool to have kind of that pilot helmet on there, because they definitely made his ship and everything. They made the Xandu blood. And by the way, this is one of those moments where they kind of screwed up, if you ask me, because if you remember in Holocron Heist, they actually, or no, it was Children of the Force. They got the Xandu blood, and it was basically, taken by the Republic, impounded by the Republic. Yeah. So here we're seeing him in the Xandu blood again, and he's going to Tatooine. But before I go on, I was going to say, if you have one of those Jango Fett hats, it fits perfectly on this character. Check that out. Are you seeing that there?
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah. All I did was I just put that Jango Fett hat on there, and that you could have a pilot Cad Bane for his Xandu blood, since they made that ship. Do you actually have that ship?
I do, actually.
I don't. I wish I
no
did.
Way.
Yeah. There is
I was a nerd about like getting every one of the vehicles, especially if it was something cool like Cad Bane's.
Mm-hmm.
I have all the Jedi Starfighters for every Jedi.
Yeah, I think it was what was it, Holocron Heist, where Cad Bane was basically talking about, I want the best ship. I want a really nice ship, and Darth Sidious basically hooked him up with that ship, right?
Yeah.
So
that thing actually was like, it could disappear. Remember like that hologram, or not, the invisibility cloaking device that Anakin had on that needle ship? Yeah, the Xanadu blood had cloaking device and stuff on it.
That's unreal. So now you have a pilot. This is that Cad Bane we were talking about too, by the way. Such a nice figure. I don't know who designed this, but it's just wonderful. It's probably one of the coolest Clone Wars figures I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So
it's really well done.
We get to the end of the episode, and this was kind of one of those oh my goodness moments for me, simply because you've heard about in places like the EU, like the old EU, about the Hutts and always wanting to know about the Hutts. But Jabba's like, here's your money, but I have another job for you. But before we go on and talk about why I'm so excited about this moment, I just thought I'd share one last custom of the night, and it is a repaint of TC-70. And this is actually before we got the one that came in the Jabba pack, right?
Oh yeah.
Because you notice it's a lot pinker. If you're looking at the picture here, you can tell she's super pink, right? Still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so I thought, and like I said, this is before I even got her, so you can tell it's kind of a 3PO. It has the yellow eyes instead of the red ones, right?
Yep.
Well, we actually got a paint variation of that character, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we got this character, didn't we?
Yeah, I was surprised with that one. That one came out of left field.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I was thankful at the same time, because I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool to have in there with my realistic Jabba display. I'm okay with that, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I always thought that was a cool droid. I don't know. I'm still in the camp that I think Clone Wars in general, Clone Wars characters, we're seeing it with these Disney packs coming out real soon. I think that the Star Wars collection is really primed for Clone Wars characters,
Oh yeah. Well, I was talking today, there was like some kind of post on Facebook asking like, what is the most overrated action figure line? And I felt like it was a Star Wars 6-inch, because the complete neglect of the prequel characters, and it's going to take forever to get a collection that would even feel complete. Like, it takes a long time to build the main characters from all the properties at this point. And yeah, like, we'd never see Clone Wars characters really, I don't think, unless it's something like an Ahsoka Rebel style. like them in another time period. We're never gonna. I don't think we'll ever see Clone Wars characters in the 6-inch line.
I don't think so either. And we had
I
that.
think it's just going to be a forgotten collection in some ways.
I agree, and I think that's partially Disney. I've just been listening to a lot of people talk just about animation in general. I think Disney wants to go. This is my firm opinion. You don't have to abide by my opinion. I just believe that they don't really want to do animation. I just don't think they do, even though they're Disney. They're Disney, they are known for animation, but I just don't think that's their plan. You see all these different movies they're making, like, Beauty and the Beast is coming out. Why wouldn't they go and make a nice computer animation of all their classic tales? Instead, they're going and they're making these movies, right?
Yeah, I mean, they still did
live
Moana.
action.
I just watched Moana the other day.
Yeah. But I just think
that still fits the Disney formula, but they are branching out for sure and covering more territory than they did in the past.
Yeah. We have we're losing the Clone Wars on Netflix pretty soon too. A couple weeks next week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks from now.
It's gonna be a big change.
Yeah, but you're still gonna get our show because we love the Clone Wars. There's no doubt about it.
We kind of want to cover every episode. That's the goal, if we can. Sure. And then, after that, maybe we'll do bonus episodes if we make extra stuff. I don't know.
Absolutely. So back to Jabba's Palace. Now as we're getting into season 3 and 4 and 5, we're starting to see a filled Jabba's Palace, which is cool. And you're seeing a bunch of characters. There's Punzignut yet again. You gotta love it. We got Punzignut, we got Godels. There's Punzignut. These are all a bunch of customs I've done and I've shown. Boy, I'll tell you that the belt on Punzignut is just filled with tons of different gadgets and whatnot. Definitely difficult to pull off.
To produce.
To produce and pull off. But I think it turned out okay. There's some.
Oh man, I love that clone because I have the more realistic one where he's thicker everywhere. I love that one because it's Clone Wars style.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
It's cool.
But here it is. This is the exciting part. We get to see the 5 Hutt families. I guess I'm just a nerd, but I was blown away by this. We saw holograms of the 5 Hutt families. Here comes Cad Bane. He's like, "Well, it isn't the 5 Hutt families."
I love his accent. It was awesome.
Yeah. I think he even said something like, "There's more moves to this dance."
Yeah, that was a great line.
I love his just his swagger, throughout this entire show. I think his voice got a little less harmonic as it went on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because early on it was really like machine, like it was auto-tuned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For sure. And then we find out that he's basically going to pull Zero out of prison. That's basically the more moves to the dance, right?
Yep.
And that's what he was talking about with the 5 Hutt families. And we'll certainly see those guys again. Haven't really made any of those yet, but I'd certainly like to.
I've been asked to twice already for 2 different Hutts, but I think that like the people at the time were only willing to spend like $65, and I couldn't do it for $65.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That's sometimes it might run you $65 just to find the part you need to build onto.
Yeah, bigger characters are tougher, folks. Just to be real, I don't really want to talk money because I treat it as a private type of thing. But in general, like whatever character you're using, I saw one today that was not utilizing the Clone Wars version of the job of the hut. That's what I would use if I was
Yeah.
making any other huts. But you could certainly use other huts. But even getting those older ones costs a fair amount of money, don't you think?
Yeah, base figures can be pricey when they're large.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that Goro that I used to make the Pong Krell, I think that
yeah.
goes for even higher than like $90 just for that as the base. I was lucky I got it for like $20 at the
Mhm.
time, but you know,
Yeah.
I wish I bought more of them knowing now.
Yeah. And I have a couple of those myself, and they did go for a ridiculous amount of money. Just the changing market, things go off the market, and the price just skyrockets. It's so strange, and then other things not so much. It's really weird. But this last character I wanted to show, this robot here, he's uh, kind of a medical droid, but he's really turned into kind of a servant droid, and he's the cook, right? He's the cake maker, and this was actually a cameo. I don't know if you knew this or not, but he was voiced by Duff Goldman, the Ace of Cakes, because he asked Anakin, "Where's R2 and 3PO?" And the reason for that was that he was making a cake at the time. Do you know the Ace of Cakes? Do you know Duff Goldman?
No.
I think he's out of Boston. I think it's out of Boston, and he's on Food Network a lot and everything. But at the time, they were delivering a Clone Wars-esque R2D2 cake, so he did a whole cameo and everything. And but eventually, R2 and 3PO get back, and they got the Jogan fruit on there just in the nick of time to save the party, right?
Yep.
And this is one of the things I wanted to show. You got Duff Goldman at the bottom there, and then you have all kinds of different voices and whatnot. And
Wow,
this
Nathan
is
Futterman is the voice of that droid, TC-70.
yeah, exactly.
That's
That's kind of why I wanted to show this. You see the different characters and how versatile these people are.
Yeah.
And there's J0 and N0, Jono there. And these are kind of where I got the names. Sometimes you have to search for the names.
I wonder. I'm seeing Seth Green's name up there. Whatever happened with the detours? Is that like completely squashed?
You never can tell,
Yeah, I know. That's true.
I was just listening to Rebel Force Radio, and they were talking about that too.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen to that. I think there's two sides of the coin. You know what I'm saying? Are they going to go with George's things, or are they going to go with their own stuff? I don't know.
That's true.
I think they got rid of all the quirky, funny stuff. I don't know. Do you want to see detours?
I think they could get rid of like everything original trilogy, and they could just kind of do their own thing at this point and get away with it.
I bet you that's what's going to happen.
Because we already bought so much. It's like,
Yeah. I think we were saying that in the past too. We were like, well, if this is the end, I have almost 1,000 figures,
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I mean,
and
the ability to still make the few more that I feel I really want to have.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Well, that is our show for the night. Like I said, I love that episode. I thought it was great.
It's fun when you're ever getting a lot of droids.
Yeah, I love droids. I think that classic, for the younger people, there was a cartoon back in the 80s where R2 and 3PO basically just went on adventures. And it's a quirky cartoon simply because of the times, right?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen all of them. Elias has seen all of them. Yeah. I think I have like 2 to 3 left maybe that I have to see.
Yeah. They were just kind of kooky, it had to be that 80s comedy. They had to feel like the current lineup of cartoons and whatnot.
Yeah, they were zany. It was like they were going up against gummy bears and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you're just like, you're seeing them jump around and flop around and everything. And if it was a little bit more serious, I think it probably would have made it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
If it had the same edge that I think these newer ones did. You know, what I would consider the droids episodes of the Clone Wars. You know, they were a little more edgy. They still were whimsical, though, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, man. Well, that'll about do it for us. I am Peak Obi-Wan, and you can find me when I'm not here on Facebook. And I'm also on Instagram at Peak Obi-Wan Custom Figures. Where can we find you?
You can find me over at the Customs for the Kid blog. It's www.customsforthekid.blogspot.com. From there, you can see our entire library of figures. And then you could also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Google Plus, and Pinterest. But yeah, until next time, everyone have a good night, and may the force be with you.
See you later.